From the dawn of history until today, human beings have needed to tell and to hear stories. Storytelling has never been just about entertainment. It is a tool for reflection, for learning, and even for discovering who we truly are.
In this lesson, we will explore these ideas through
the powerful text Wang, Amidst the Shadows of Deception and the Light of Truth, from the author's Introduction, which plants the seeds of profound ideas, to the vivid, dramatic opening scenes of the story itself. Together we will practice how contrasts, sensory details, and the technique of show, don't tell can breathe life into characters and settings. Welcome to today's class. This session is part of a structured 10-lesson course designed to take you step by step from beginner level all the way to advanced, professional modern storytelling. Our method is simple but effective. First, we read a selected passage from the story. Then we carefully analyze it, paying attention to both craft and meaning. After this analysis, I guide you through professional storytelling instruction directly based on the passage. Finally, you will receive practical, story-centered exercises so that theoretical knowledge immediately turns into real creative skill. In this way, you will not only understand why storytelling has always been a vital part of human life, but also how every writer carries a seed within that compels them to write. You will discover how to use essential contrasts, light and darkness, hope and despair, and vivid sensory detail to strengthen your writing while mastering the art of showing instead of telling, so your characters and worlds come fully alive on the page. Author's Introduction. Every writer carries within their heart a story, a seed that seems to sprout from the very depths of their soul, restless until it takes shape in words. Wang. Amidst the shadows of deception and the light of truth was, for me, such a story. A seed watered by years of profound curiosity about the intricate nature of good and evil, contemplation of the unbreakable ties between past and present, and countless questions regarding the power of choice and the essence of human salvation. This work is not merely a novel. It is a sincere endeavor to explore the very fabric of our being and to vividly portray the hidden battles raging both on the grand stage of existence and within the innermost sanctuary of each human heart. In our contemporary world, engulfed by the dizzying speed of information and myriad challenges, there is often little opportunity to pause and reflect upon the deeper, eternal battles between light and darkness, truth and falsehood, faith and doubt. Amidst this clamor, the whispers of lies and temptation sometimes grow so loud that the tranquil resonance of truth becomes difficult to discern. This book is an invitation to open a window onto this primordial battlefield, to depict it not only in its vast, cosmic dimensions involving supernatural powers, but also on the delicate and sensitive scale of the human mind and heart, where even the smallest decisions can forge great destinies. In this journey, you will accompany Wang, a young man from an ancient and mystical land, who, facing an unknown fate, suddenly finds his soul embarking on an involuntary voyage beyond time and space. He is thrust into one of the most tumultuous and pivotal epochs of human history, the era of Jesus Christ's advent and mission. This journey is not merely an adventure through time. It is a quest for truth, a confrontation with malevolent forces, and a striving to understand his place within the grand tapestry of destiny. Wang struggles not only in the cold, dim corridors of a modern hospital, wrestling with his very existence, but also in the dusty alleyways of ancient Jerusalem, by the sacred waters of the Jordan River, and even within the stony ethereal halls of Lucifer's realm, engaged in a battle for his soul's salvation and the discovery of the essence of being. On the other side of this veil, Lucifer, the embodiment of pride, envy, and the father of lies, orchestrates elaborate, wicked schemes with an army of tempters. He is a master of deception, exploiting human weaknesses to sow seeds of doubt, despair, and deviation within human hearts. From conspiring to mislead John the Baptist into igniting a terrestrial rebellion, to attempting to trap Wang's soul in the labyrinth of the past, Lucifer employs every available means to expand his dominion over humanity's ignorance and sin. Yet, standing in opposition to him is Jesus Christ with the light of his wisdom and divine word, a light that illuminates truth, bestows hope upon humanity, and reveals the path to salvation. My endeavor in writing Wang, amidst the shadows of deception and the light of truth, extends beyond merely recounting a historical or spiritual narrative. My aim has been to weave together the threads of a breathtaking adventure, a profound human drama, and deep philosophical and theological concepts, compelling the reader to reflect. This book will reveal how truth, as it has been taught to us, sometimes lies hidden behind a veil of falsehood. It will show how temptations can don the garments of righteousness and lead us astray. And most importantly, it will illustrate how, when confronted by the immense forces of good and evil that are ever present in our lives, we can illuminate our path with the light of truth and emerge victorious in the eternal battle of the soul. The story of Wang is an invitation to awakening, to vigilance against deception, and to remember the power inherent within each of us, a power that can guide us from darkness to light and from despair to hope. This book was written not merely to tell a tale, but to ignite a flicker of hope in the darkest shadows, and to inspire hearts that yearn for meaning and truth. I sincerely hope that within these pages, you will find not only entertainment and the pleasure of a good story, but also deeper insight and a fresh connection with the very essence of existence. With profound respect and wishes for a meaningful journey, Stefan Afshar. In a palatial hall forged from molten gold, with obsidian pillars adorned by intricate golden serpents, Lucifer, once renowned among the angels as the morning star, reclined upon a throne of pure liquid gold, embellished with rubies that gleamed like solidified drops of blood. A soft, enigmatic aura, a lingering echo of his lost splendor, enveloped him. The gentle dripping of molten gold from the high ceiling occasionally punctuated the silence, while the sharp scent of sulfur and the heavy aroma of hot metal permeated the air. An oppressive heat radiated from the throne and pillars, rendering the atmosphere thick and suffocating. The dim, mysterious light reflected off the polished obsidian surfaces, dancing with the crimson gleam of the thrones, rubies to cast spectral shadows upon the hall's walls. On either side of the grand chamber, ranks of fallen angels, their once radiant faces now withered and sorrowful, bowed their heads in his presence. Their broken, darkened wings, no longer capable of soaring through celestial realms, dragged upon the ground, and their tattered, soiled garments narrated tales of their descent and humiliation. Their gazes held a mixture of fear, longing for the past, and forced obedience to their new sovereign. Before Lucifer, the three seductive sisters, Ishtar draped in a gown of fiery crimson silk, Anahita in fabric of deep ocean blue silk, and Lilith cloaked in midnight black velvet, were entwined in a mesmerizing and unrestrained dance. Their sheer alluring attire billowed with each movement, revealing their forms. Their steps shifted between languid, enticing gestures and swift, audacious twirls, their every effort aimed at pleasing their master. Their gazes, fixed upon Lucifer, were a blend of adoration and supplication, with a subtle undercurrent of hidden dominance. The soft chime of their jewelry and their enchanting whispers during the dance heightened the scene's allure. Lucifer, holding a golden goblet filled with wine that embodied the solitude and isolation of 1,000 years, allowed a triumphant and devilish smile to play upon his lips with each sip. The expression on his face as he drank betrayed pleasure and satisfaction with the spectacle unfolding before him. His gaze, sweeping between the fallen angels and the seductive sisters, held a mixture of disdain for weakness and contentment with their service. With a languid swirl of the wine in his goblet, he spoke in a voice that was not loud or resonant, but rather a chilling and insidious murmur. Your services have been invaluable. Intoxicated by his boundless power over this earthly realm, a mocking laugh echoed from the depths of his being, as if the fate of humanity were no more than a trifle in his hands. His eyes, like two orbs of profound darkness, gleamed with pride and victory, and within their depths surged a narrative of rebellion, mastery, and unbridled pleasure. A heavy and significant silence reigned in the hall, broken only by the soft sound of the wine being sipped, the rustle of the dancers' feet, their murmured words, Lucifer's occasional laughter, and the distant whispers of tormented souls and the clinking of chains. Gusts of scorching, winds from distant corridors also, occasionally reached their ears. In that moment, he was not merely the ruler of a separate domain, but an embodiment of will, self-reliance, and dark dominion. In the very instant the seductive sisters, intoxicated by the power of their allure, reached the zenith of their mesmerizing dance, and Lucifer, steeped in the heady wine of his pride and arrogance, a state of self-worship where he perceived himself as the unchallenged sovereign of his dark dominion. The silence of the hall shattered with a deafening, grating sound. The 1,000-ton golden gate, its surface seemingly forged from the molten envy and malice of humankind, and etched with the grotesque visages of greed, swung inward with a deep, resonant groan that echoed like the lament of the gate itself. From the widening chasm, tendrils of dark dust and phantasmal shadows crept into the hall. A subtle tremor ran through the ground, and the reverberation of the opening door pulsed through the chamber. An angel with a single broken wing, its other appendage mangled and drooping, several feathers torn away in a testament to its ruin, entered, his head bowed low, his form hunched in utter humiliation and deference. His face was ashen, his hollowed eyes pools of stark terror, and beads of cold sweat glistened on his brow. His hands trembled visibly, and his unsteady, faltering steps betrayed his struggle to maintain balance with his sole remaining wing. He resembled a wretched, broken creature as he advanced slowly and with evident effort, finally halting before Lucifer's throne. Lucifer, his brow furrowed in incredulous astonishment, ceased his indulgence in the wine, his gaze tearing itself away from the lascivious ballet of his consorts, who had abruptly stilled their movements, their curious and bewildered yet subtly apprehensive, gazes fixed upon the newly arrived angel. His voice, moments before a blend of drunken triumph, now held a sharp, impatient edge. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his dark eyes now narrowed and dangerous, piercing the trembling figure before him. "What untimely intrusion is this? Is it conceivable that in this earthly realm I govern, not even a single soul possesses its own breath? Are not all, be they angel or mortal, perpetually bound in my adoration? What has transpired that this sacred silence is so audaciously broken?" He leaned forward slightly, abandoning his regal repose. The one-winged angel, who trembled before Lucifer's majestic wrath like a reed in a storm, struggled to speak. His lips parted with difficulty, but no sound escaped his throat. Fear seemed to have choked the very breath from him. Impatience flickered across Lucifer's features. His eyes narrowed further, and a spark of incandescent fury ignited within their depths. "I remember," he said with a dangerous slowness, his voice now imbued with an ominous undertone. "It is you. You have come before in such a wretched state. And then, too, you brought tidings of ill omen. The news of the birth of that second human, the second creature, the Creator, the Creator of all existence, fashioned, fleeting image of his fall from grace, and the theft of his cherished title, the morning star, flickered through his mind, casting a shadow of ancient pain and resentment across his countenance. This is a fascinating text to analyze, as it serves as both an author's introduction to a novel and the beginning of the novel's narrative itself. Here is a detailed analysis and explanation. 1. Analysis of the author's introduction. The first part of the text is a formal introduction by the author, Stefan Afshar. It is a crucial component of the novel's paratext, material outside the main story that frames it, and serves several key functions. A. Author's motivation and theme setting. The seed of the story. Afshar begins by characterizing the story as something deeply personal, a seed that seems to sprout from the very depths of their soul, restless until it takes shape in words. This establishes a sincere, profound, and non-commercial tone. Core thematic concerns. He immediately identifies the major themes he intends to explore: the intricate nature of good and evil, and the eternal battles between light and darkness, truth and falsehood, faith and doubt, the unbreakable ties between past and present, the power of choice and the essence of human salvation. The novel's scope. He asserts the book is not merely a novel, but an endeavor to explore the very fabric of our being, indicating a blend of high-stakes adventure and deep philosophical or theological exploration. B. Context and invitation to the reader. Critique of modernity. Afshar contrasts the novel's themes with the dizzying speed of information and myriad challenges of the contemporary world. This positions the book as an antidote or a space for necessary reflection, an invitation to pause. The narrative layers. The author promises to depict the struggle between light and darkness on two scales: cosmic supernatural, vast cosmic dimensions involving supernatural powers; human intimate, the delicate and sensitive scale of the human mind and heart. C. Introducing the protagonist and plot. The protagonist, Wang. He is a young man from an ancient and mystical land who is thrust into an involuntary voyage beyond time and space. The core conflict or setting. Wang is projected into one of the most tumultuous and pivotal epochs of human history, the era of Jesus Christ's advent and mission. Wang's two battlefields. His struggle is not just an adventure, but a fight for existence in two distinct settings, highlighting the story's dual nature: modern, cold, dim corridors of a modern hospital; ancient, spiritual, dusty alleyways of ancient Jerusalem; sacred waters of the Jordan River; and stony, ethereal halls of Lucifer's realm. D. Introducing the antagonists. Lucifer, introduced as the embodiment of pride, envy, and the father of lies. His mission is to sow seeds of doubt, despair, and deviation within human hearts. Jesus Christ, introduced as the primary opposing force, representing the light of his wisdom and divine word, a light that illuminates truth, bestows hope, and reveals the path to salvation. E. Author's hope and conclusion. The author states his ambitious goal: to weave a breathtaking adventure, a profound human drama, and deep philosophical and theological concepts. The final message is an invitation to awakening, to vigilance against deception, reinforcing the didactic, teaching, and inspirational purpose of the novel. The author hopes the reader finds entertainment, deeper insight, and a fresh connection with the very essence of existence. 2. Analysis of the narrative beginning. The opening scene. The second part of the text is the actual opening of the novel, an immediate and dramatic scene set in Lucifer's realm. This is a powerful piece of descriptive writing that immediately establishes the antagonist's world and power. A. Setting and atmosphere. The Hall of Lucifer. The setting is described using a rich contrast of luxurious materials and sinister connotations. Molten gold and obsidian. Gold, wealth, divinity. Power is corrupted by being molten and paired with obsidian, volcanic glass. Darkness, sharp edges, symbolizing a twisted, inverted heaven. Imagery of corruption. Pillars adorned with golden serpents. A throne with rubies that gleam like solidified drops of blood. And the scent of sulfur and the heavy aroma of hot metal all establish a hellish, oppressive environment. Sensory details, heat, dim light, the dripping of molten gold, and the eventual sounds of the tormented souls all contribute to a vivid, suffocating atmosphere. B. Characterization of Lucifer. Fallen glory. He is introduced with his past title, once renowned among the angels as the Morning Star, but is now only enveloped by an enigmatic aura, a lingering echo of his lost splendor. Regal arrogance. He reclines on a throne of pure, liquid gold. His voice is a chilling and insidious murmur, not a loud shout, indicating confidence and control. Self-worship and dominion. He is intoxicated by his boundless power and laughs mockingly at the fate of humanity. He is in a state of self-worship where he perceived himself as the unchallenged. Sovereign of his dark dominion. C. Secondary characters and their roles. Fallen angels. They are presented as broken, pathetic figures, withered and sorrowful faces, broken, darkened wings, tattered, soiled garments. They represent humiliation, lost grace, and forced obedience, emphasizing Lucifer's complete authority. The seductive sisters, Ishtar, Anahita, Lilith. They are a symbolic embodiment of temptation and vice, lust, vanity. Their names reference mythological figures associated with love, fertility, and the night. Their dance is mesmerizing and unrestrained, and their gazes are a blend of adoration and supplication, with a subtle undercurrent of hidden dominance, suggesting that even within their service, there is complex, manipulative power. D. The inciting incident. The disruption. The atmosphere of arrogant pleasure is violently shattered by a deafening, grating sound as the massive golden gate swings inward. This signifies an unforeseen breach in Lucifer's perfect dominion. The one-winged angel. The messenger's physical state immediately establishes the gravity of the news. His single broken wing, ashen face, and stark terror are a visual testament to a catastrophic event that has occurred in the earthly or celestial realms. Lucifer's reaction. His triumph is instantly replaced by incredulous astonishment and a sharp, impatient edge. His rhetorical question, "Is it conceivable that in this earthly realm I govern, not even a single soul possesses its own breath?" confirms his supreme arrogance and his belief in total control. The scene ends on a powerful note of rising tension and implied catastrophe, as the trembling angel struggles to deliver his terrible news. 3. Key storytelling elements for students. A. Show, don't tell. The author effectively shows the reader the nature of the setting and characters rather than just telling. Telling. Lucifer is evil and arrogant. Showing. He was not merely the ruler of a separate domain, but an embodiment of will, self-reliance, and dark dominion. Conveyed through the description of the throne, the goblet, and his mocking laughter. B. Use of symbolism. The text is rich with symbolism. Gold and rubies, corrupted power and spilled blood. Obsidian. Darkness, coldness, and a reflective surface for pride. Sulfur. The traditional scent of hell and damnation. The one-winged angel, a symbol of broken allegiance, failure, and the fragility of even spiritual power against an unknown force. C. Foreshadowing. The entire opening scene foreshadows the central conflict. Lucifer's current state of smug, absolute control is about to be challenged. The arrival of the terrified, broken angel and the shattering of the silent signals that Wang's journey or an event related to Christ's mission has succeeded in disturbing the ruler of the underworld. This is a fantastic text for a storytelling session. It provides rich examples of character, theme, setting, and conflict, which are the fundamental building blocks of narrative. Here is a complete teaching plan for Session 1. Why do we write stories? Using the provided author's introduction and the excerpt from Wang, Amidst the Shadows of Deception and the Light of Truth. Session 1, Why do we write stories? Introduction. The human need to tell, 10 minutes. Goal. Establish the foundational idea that storytelling is essential to being human. Teacher talk. Think back to the beginning of time. Before written language, before books, people huddled around fires. What did they do? They told stories. Stories weren't just for fun. They were for survival. They taught you which berries were poisonous, how to hunt, and the rules of your tribe. Every memory, every belief, every lesson was packed into a narrative. This hasn't changed. As the author Stefan Afsher says, every writer carries within their heart a story, a seed that seems to sprout from the very depths of their soul, restless until it takes shape in words. We write stories because, at our core, we are restless until we share the seeds inside us. Activity, think, pair, share. Ask students, what is the most important story you know? It could be a family story, a historical event, a film, or a novel. Why is it important to you? Allow 2 minutes for thinking, 3 minutes for pairing sharing, 1 minute for a quick whole class share. The role of stories in human life and history. Goal. Analyze the text to identify the 3 core functions of storytelling: entertainment, education, and identity. 1 stories in the service of entertainment. The thrill of the tale, 10 minutes. Teacher talk. The first reason we write is simply to entertain, to capture attention, and create an experience. Let's look at the excerpt describing Lucifer's Hall. Read the description. Have a student read the description of Lucifer's Hall. Molten gold, obsidian pillars, seductive sisters dance. Analysis. What senses does the author engage? Sight, smell, sound, touch, sulfur, oppressive heat, soft chime of jewelry. Why? This vivid sensory detail keeps you reading. The suspense, the sudden grating sound of the door, and Lucifer's change in tone is pure entertainment. It's the breathtaking adventure the author mentions. A story must first be engaging to matter. Stories in the service of education. Illumination and reflection, 10 minutes. Teacher talk. Beyond a thrilling plot, great stories are meant to teach us. They provide education by exploring deep, complex ideas. The author's introduction is clear about this. Quote analysis. Look at this quote. My aim has been to weave together the threads of a breathtaking adventure, compelling the reader to reflect. Discussion. What deep educational ideas does the author want us to reflect on? The intricate nature of good and evil, the power of choice and the essence of human salvation, how temptations can don the garments of righteousness and lead us astray. Conclusion. The story acts as a safe laboratory where we can examine these eternal battles without real-world risk. Good storytelling makes philosophy and theology accessible. 3. Stories in the service of identity. Finding our place, 10 minutes. Teacher talk. The final and perhaps most personal reason we write and read stories is to shape our identity, to figure out who we are and where we belong. The character Wang is a perfect example. Character focus. Wang is thrust into one of the most tumultuous and pivotal epochs of human history. His journey is a quest for truth, confrontation with malevolent forces, a striving to understand his place within the grand tapestry of destiny. Reflection. We are all Wang. When we read, we look for echoes of ourselves, our struggles, our hopes, our fears, in the character's journey. By watching Wang battle for his soul's salvation, we are invited to consider our own battles and find the power inherent within each of us. Stories help us define ourselves in relation to the world. A new teaching method using a given story. Goal: introduce a structured method for reading and analyzing a text to deepen comprehension and generate new writing ideas. The method we'll use today is called Unpacking the Author's Blueprint, UAB. It treats the story not just as a final product, but as a map of the writer's original intent. UAB step: description and purpose, application to Wang text. 1. The seed, theme, question. Ask, what fundamental idea or question bothered the author until they had to write about it? This is the why of the story. The seed, the intricate nature of good and evil, and countless questions regarding the power of choice and the essence of human salvation. 2. The vessel, metaphor structure. Ask, what narrative structure or central metaphor did the author use to contain the seed? This is the how of the story. The vessel, the involuntary voyage of Wang's soul beyond time and space, a physical journey that mirrors his spiritual moral quest. 3. The conflict, the engine. Ask, how is the seed question dramatized? Who or what opposes the protagonist's quest for truth? This is the action of the story. The conflict, Wang vs. Lucifer, the supernatural cosmic battle, and Wang versus self, wrestling with his very existence decisions. 4. The invitation, the call to reader. Ask, what is the author's final purpose for the reader? What emotional or intellectual action are we being asked to take? The invitation, an invitation to awakening, to vigilance against deception, and to remember the power inherent within each of us. Teacher task. Have students use the UAB framework to analyze the text in small groups. This helps them move past simply summarizing the plot and instead understand the author's core, motivation, and craft. Exercise. Writing a memoir in the form of a short story, 15 minutes. Goal: apply the concept of storytelling as a vehicle for identity by turning a personal memory into a narrative with a deeper meaning. Instructions. Find your seed. Think of a small, specific moment in your life where you had to make a choice between two things, e.g., admitting a mistake versus hiding it, speaking up versus staying quiet, working hard versus giving up. This is your personal battle between light and darkness on a small scale. This is the why. Find your vessel. Write the scene. Focusing on sensory details, sight, sound, feeling for entertainment. Set the scene in a specific place, a classroom, a kitchen, a field. Prompt: write a short, one-paragraph author's introduction for a story you want to write. Requirement: in this paragraph, you must use at least 3 pairs of contrasting words like light, darkness, or freedom, captivity, to establish the main themes and the tone, serious, lighthearted, mysterious, etc., of your own story. Exercise 2. Crafting descriptive settings. Focus Lucifer's Hall. This exercise concentrates on using sensory details and figurative language to create a vivid and mood-setting environment, a critical component of world building. Activity: the 5 senses of evil. Sensory audit. Students should reread the detailed description of Lucifer's palatial hall and complete a chart based on the 5 senses. Sense: details from the text. What feeling does this detail create? Sight: palatial hall forged from molten gold. Obsidian pillars, rubies that gleamed like solidified drops of blood. Oppressive, decadent, violent, unnatural. Sound: gentle dripping of molten gold. Soft chime of their jewelry, distant whispers of tormented souls. Unnerving, isolated, constant torment. Smell, sharp scent of sulfur and the heavy aroma of hot metal. Toxic, hellish, industrial. Touch, feeling. An oppressive heat radiated from the throne. Atmosphere thick and suffocating. Heavy, uncomfortable, inescapable. Taste. The text provides no literal taste, but asks students to infer. Metal, ash, bitterness. Analyze figurative language. Find and copy 2 examples of metaphor or simile used to. Describe the setting or objects in the scene. Example 1, simile. Rubies that gleamed like solidified drops of blood. Example 2, metaphor. The molten envy and malice of humankind. Describing the gate's material. Writer's task. Prompt. Describe the personal, secret lair of a secondary villain in Wang, amidst the shadows of deception. This villain is obsessed with envy and lies. Requirement. Your description must be at least 1 paragraph long and must include at least 1 detail for 4 of the 5 senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, and at least 1 piece of figurative language, simile or metaphor, to reflect the villain's obsession. Exercise 3, show, don't tell, character entrance. Focus, the one-winged angel. This exercise focuses on the principle of show, don't tell, specifically, by analyzing how the author uses physical actions and description to convey a character's emotional state. Activity, fear on the page. Analyze the action. Reread the section describing the one-winged angel's entrance. List all the actions, physical descriptions, or states of being that communicate the angel's fear and humiliation, without the text actually saying, he was afraid. Examples. His head bowed low, form hunched in utter humiliation, face was ashen, hollowed eyes pools of stark terror, hands trembled visibly, unsteady faltering steps. Impact of detail. The text says, fear seemed to have choked the very breath from him. How did the author show this idea before finally telling it? Answer hint. His lips parted with difficulty, but no sound escaped his throat. Writer's task. Prompt a character, perhaps Wang, enters a room to deliver a message to a powerful authority figure, but they are consumed by a powerful emotion. Relief from a long journey, or rage at an injustice. Requirement. Write a 2 to 3 sentence paragraph describing the character's entrance. Do not use the word relief or rage. Instead, show the emotion through physical details like their posture, breathing, hands, steps, or facial expression, similar to how the author showed the angel's fear. Dear friends, in this session we discovered that storytelling has accompanied humanity since the very dawn of history. We learned that stories are not only a source of entertainment, but also a pathway for reflection, for learning, and for discovering ourselves. Together, we explored the text, Wang, amidst the shadows of deception and the light of truth, from the author's introduction, which plants the seeds of deep ideas, to the vivid opening scenes brought to life through contrasts and sensory detail. This class is part of a structured, 10-lesson course designed to guide you step by step from beginner level all the way to advanced professional modern storytelling. As you saw, our method is simple yet powerful. First, we read a passage, then we analyze it carefully, followed by professional instruction based on the text, and finally, practical exercises that turn theory into real creative skill. If you enjoyed this lesson and want to support the continuation of this series, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you won't miss any of the upcoming sessions. Until the next class, stay creative and keep your pen sharp.